body needs. If you're coming to your seat, you might consider taking just a little bit of time to adjust your seat, tilting your pelvis forward, back, side to side movement, noticing, what's there. You might need a little bit of a roll out through the shoulders, movement of your head from side to side, just kind of feeling yourself settle. Again, I know a lot of us are sitting a little bit more during the day, maybe in stranger positions or not as ergonomic as we're used to. And so just making those adjustments that we need to make. If it feels comfortable, let your eyes close. You may consider keeping your eyes open if you find that having your eyes closed is super activating to your nervous system. So just kind of notice where it is that you need to settle and land tonight. Let yourself take a couple deep breaths, settling into the pulse, the rhythm of your breath. I don't know how many of you, I would imagine most of us probably got to experience the thunderstorms yesterday. They were pretty intense out here on the east side. And I was sitting on the couch as they started to roll in. It just kind of came out of nowhere, where suddenly there was a couple flashes of lightning, a couple big bangs, and then the sky just opened up and this rain started falling. And it was this really potent reminder for me, because I don't know if it was the day before that, yeah, it was Monday. I just had a really hard day. And it was just kind of like all of the emotions in my body came up to the surface at one time, and it was this big explosion that kind of came out of nowhere. And seeing that reflected back to me by nature was really powerful. It was a reminder that what I was experiencing emotionally, what was happening for me, was something that I could also see mirrored in the natural world. And it was this reminder in particular about the power of water. And that's going to be our focus for practice today, the second chakra, the water element, also associated with the emotional body, so all of those pieces there. But just thinking about this idea for a lot of us right now of how emotion and how experience can kind of come up and well up out of nowhere and be this big, huge experience that might feel really intense, but at least for me afterwards also felt really cleansing. And in particular, just kind of sitting with that thunderstorm and feeling the kind of booms echoing through my body, feeling the kind of pounding of the rain on the roof, and then watching it kind of dissipate over time helped me really connect to that kind of same sensation that I had just experienced the day before in my body. So for many of us, we probably got to have that experience of experiencing the thunderstorm in some way or another. And so we might just think about or sit with that energy of water. Sometimes water gets this kind of like flowy, gentle, calm kind of vibe. But today, really thinking about the intensity and the power that's behind water. And in particular, that intensity and that power to help move us, whether it's physically, emotionally, mentally. And as we take our next couple of breaths, we may choose to bring our hands onto our body, whether we bring our palms together at our heart, or I find for me it's really been resonating to have a hand on the heart, a hand on the belly, just as a way to really kind of connect in and reconnect and be in my physical body a little bit more. And we'll start our practice tonight using the seed syllable of the second chakra, which is VAM, V-A-M. And we'll chant that together 3 times, just like we would the sound of Om. And all of you are on mute, so know that I'm not going to hear you. All you're going to hear is me, so feel free, even if it feels off-key or weird or funny, to chant as loudly as you'd like to. We'll take a deep inhale to begin, and then VAM on the exhale. When we feel ready, we'll lower our hands if they're on our body. If our eyes are closed, we may choose to blink them open, or we might keep them closed for just a little bit longer. If it feels comfortable to stay in the seat that you're in, we'll stay here for just a little bit longer as we lower. I'll be a mirror. Our left hand to the floor, stretch our right arm up and over. And then with our inhalation, we'll come up through center, and as we exhale, we'll bring our right hand to the floor and stretch our left arm up and over. And we'll just do this a couple times, flowing side to side, moving with our breath, moving within comfortable range of motion for your spine, for your shoulder. And we'll go once more over to the right. And then we'll take our inhalation to come up through center. As we come up through center, stretching up through both arms, lengthen up through the fingertips, look up, take an inhale. And then as you exhale, bend your elbows out to the side and bring your chin toward the chest. We'll stretch our arms up toward the ceiling, looking up on our inhale. And as we exhale, bend the elbows, chin toward chest. We'll do that one more time. We might let out an exhale through the mouth or even make some sound. We'll stretch our arms back up toward the ceiling. If it feels okay for your wrists, interlace your fingers, turn your palms up toward the ceiling. If that's not working for your wrists, then just reach up through your fingertips. Let's get a little bit longer. Feel a little tone in your belly as you lengthen down through your tailbone. If it feels okay in your neck, you can tip your gaze up toward the ceiling. And we'll take an inhale. As we exhale, we'll bring our forearms about to parallel with the floor. Push forward through the heels of the hands, and then curl your chin toward your chest, round your back body. As we take our next inhalation, stretching the arms up toward the ceiling, push up through the heels of the hands. And as we exhale, we'll let our arms drop about parallel with the floor, push the heels of the hands forward, curl the chin toward the chest. Let's do that one more time, stretching up on our inhalation. And as we exhale, we'll drop the arms, curling in and round. Take our inhale, we'll stretch our arms up toward the ceiling. As we exhale, we'll release the interlace, circle out through your wrists as you lower your arms down to the floor. Take a couple big rolls out through the shoulders, just inviting the shoulders to get a little bit more spacious, the breath to connect to your movement. And then from here, we'll transition around to hands and knees. So anything you were seated on, you can move off to the side. If we are practicing on a wood floor or a hard floor of any kind, we might consider setting some padding for our knees right about the middle of our mat. And we'll transition around to a tabletop shape. So you'll come onto your hands and your knees with your knees underneath your hips and your hands underneath your shoulders. Take a moment as you arrive here to just let your hips swing from side to side, noticing the movement of the pelvis as your weight shifts. And then we'll move from here to some cat-cows. Using our next inhalation, we'll tip our heart forward into a cow. And as we exhale, we'll arch the back, moving toward cat. On the inhalation, tip your heart forward, coming toward cow. And as you exhale, arch the back into cat. And do that a couple more times, noticing how your body wants to move. And you might find that, oh, you know what would actually feel good is kind of taking my cat from side to side. Or you might find that you want to kind of barrel roll through your cat-cows, rolling through the chest and the belly. Let it start to be movement that matches more how your body wants to move right now, rather than just kind of sticking to that linear cat-cow movement if that's not feeling interesting for you. But for some of us, that familiarity of cat-cow might feel really nice right now, so we might stay with that. And we'll take a couple more breaths. If you're doing anything on one side, make sure you balance it out through the other side or the other direction. And with our next inhalation, let's bring ourselves to a neutral spine. As we find our neutral spine, we'll push the floor away with our hands. Feel for a little hug of our belly in. You might not really see my belly hugging in, but you might notice how my low back gets a little bit flatter. From here, we'll take an inhale and stretch our right leg back behind us, reach back through the heel. And then as we exhale, we'll turn our right toes out so they're facing the side of our mat. So we're kind of rotating our hip up just a little bit. We'll take an inhale here. As we exhale, we'll bend our right knee, bringing our right knee toward our right tricep as close as it can go. Stretch your leg back, turn your toes down, look down between your hands. And then as you exhale, you'll turn your toes out, looking out toward your knee as it comes in toward your tricep. Do that one more time. Stretch your leg back, look down. Turn the toes out, bend the knee, look to the tricep. And we'll stretch our leg back behind us, look down. As you exhale, bend your knee, bring your knee in toward your nose, round your back. Stretch your leg back, look forward, inhale. Exhale, knee to nose, round your back. Let's do that one more time. Inhale and exhale. Let's take our inhalation. We'll stretch our leg back behind us, turning the toes out one more time. We'll float our leg off to the right, dropping our foot parallel to the mat, arch in line with the inside of the right knee. From here, we'll reach our right arm up toward the ceiling. So we're twisting open toward our straight leg side. Lengthen up through your fingertips. Reach out through the right arm. Notice if you tend to hyperextend, that left elbow might need just a little micro bend. And then we'll flip our right palm around so that our palm is facing behind us, then our elbow, and tuck the back of the hand into the low back. Roll the right shoulder open a little bit more, and then let your left ear dip down toward the left shoulder. Here we can nod our head, yawn, open and close our mouth. Anything that feels interesting for us. Noticing that connection between our jaw, our neck, our shoulder. You know, for me, this is a place that I tend to hold a lot of tension. Just being curious about what's there. With our next inhale, we'll circle our right arm up toward the ceiling, and then as we exhale, we'll bring our hand to the floor. Just gonna turn to face you. Again, I'll be a mirror. From here, we'll walk our hands in, rise up onto our left shin, right foot. So we're now standing up. Circle both arms up toward the ceiling with an inhale. On your exhale, lower the right hand to the right leg. Reach up through the left fingertips. As you exhale, start to slide down the right leg any amount that feels interesting. If we need neck support, we can bend our elbow, grab our head. We can also take hold of our left wrist with our right hand, giving a little pull. Or we may just remain with the right hand resting on the leg. With our next inhale, we'll circle up through center. As we exhale, we'll bring our left hand down to the floor. We might need to be up on our fingertips. We might also need to pivot on the left knee just a little bit, bringing the toes in slightly to better support the hip joint. From here, we'll start to float our right foot off the floor. You might have to walk your left fingertips out just a little bit to keep the hand right underneath the shoulder. Here, we'll take an inhale, keeping the foot flexed and the big toe edge of your foot parallel to the mat. We'll exhale and slowly tap the foot to the mat. Reach the leg back up on the inhale. Exhale, lower, and tap. Just one more time. Inhale, lift, and exhale, lower. As we lower, we'll circle our right arm up and over alongside our ear. Reach out through our fingertips. See if we can get a little bit longer through our right side waist. And then with our next inhalation, we'll take a big cartwheel, bringing ourselves all the way back up. Reach up through both arms. And as you exhale, bring your hands back down to the floor. As your hands come to the floor, we'll pick up our right leg. We'll swing it back, bringing it back behind us, back to where we started. This time we'll reach our left arm forward opposite our right leg, hug our belly in, take an inhale. And as we exhale, we'll now bring our elbow to our knee as we round our back. Stretch the leg out, the arm forward. Exhale, bend the elbow, curl in. Just one more time, moving with your breath. Inhale to extend, and exhale as you curl in. We'll take our inhale, reach out through arm and leg. On the exhale, we'll return to our table. As we come to our tabletop, we'll tuck our toes under, send our hips up and back, finding our first downward facing dog. As you come to downward dog, you might find that you'd like to pedal out through your feet, sway your hips, shake your head yes, no, just kind of noticing all those places that movement may feel interesting to explore. Where in our body is talking to us today. And really touching into that ability to listen to our own bodies, to listen to what it is that our body needs. Coming back to that ability to acknowledge, oh, this is what I need in this moment. It's okay for me to feel this in this moment. This is exactly where I need to be right now. And we'll take one more inhale. And as we exhale, we'll lower back down, returning to our tabletop shape. And just switch sides so you can see a little bit better the second side. Now we'll push into the floor with the hands, hug the belly in, feeling that engagement through our core. We'll take an inhale, stretch our left leg back. Reach back through the heels, spread the toes. Now turn your left toes out to face the side of the mat. We'll take an inhale. As we exhale, we'll bend our knee, bringing our knee toward our tricep as close as it can go. Stretch the leg back, turn the toes down, turn the gaze down between the hands. Exhale, bend the knee, bring the knee toward the tricep, look to the knee. We'll do that 2 more times, moving with your breath. Inhale, stretch back, look down. Exhale as you curl in. Last time, inhale. And exhale as you curl in. Now we'll stretch our leg back, look down, inhale. On the exhale, knee to nose, round the back, coming to kind of a cat spine. Stretch the leg back, look forward. 2 more times, exhale, bringing your knee toward your nose. Last time, inhale, extend, and exhale as you curl in. We'll take our inhale, stretch our leg back. This time we'll turn our toes out, so left toes turn out again. We'll float our leg off to the left, dropping our foot parallel to the mat, arch in line with the inside of the right knee. We'll sweep our right arm up toward the ceiling. Excuse me, our left arm up toward the ceiling. Please not your right arm, that'd be really hard. Reach up through the left fingertips, let your spine start that rotation, moving from the chest all the way up through the fingertips. And again, if you know you tend to hyperextend, keep a little softness to your right elbow. We'll take an inhale here. As we exhale, we'll flip our palms to face behind us, left palm, bend the elbow, slide the back of the hand onto the low back, roll your left shoulder open a little bit more, and then let your right ear dip down. Take a little bit of movement here, finding out what feels interesting on this side. Might be a little bit different from the first. Yawn, nod, there may be sound that wants to come out. Again, just listening, noticing your body, being present. With our next inhale, we'll sweep our arm back up toward the ceiling. As we exhale, we'll circle our hand down. As our hand comes down, we'll walk ourselves up, coming up to stand now on the right shin, left foot, leg out to the side. We'll circle both arms up toward the ceiling, lengthen up to the fingertips, exhale, left hand to leg. Reach up through your right fingertips, get a little bit taller, and then as you exhale, you'll start to side bend to your left. Noticing this side, how it feels a little different. We can take those modifications, bending elbow, grabbing head, or taking hold of our right wrist with our left hand. With our next inhale, we'll circle up through center. As we exhale, we'll bring our right hand down to the floor. We might need to be on our fingertips or even grab a lift. We might also have to pivot on the right knee, bringing the toes in just a little bit. Left hand stays on hip. We'll push down into our right knee, start to lift our left foot. And again, we might have to walk our fingertips out just a little bit to keep our shoulder right over our wrist. Flex the left foot, reach out through the heel, take an inhale. As you exhale, slowly lower, tap the foot to the floor. Lift the leg back up on your inhale. Exhale, lower, and tap. Just 2 more times, moving with your breath. Last one. Then we'll lift the leg back up, reach out through the heel, spread the toes. On the exhale, we'll bring our foot to the floor, push the outer edge of the foot down, circle the left arm up and over alongside the ear. Reach out through the fingertips, see if you can get a little bit longer through your side waist. With our next inhalation, we'll cartwheel our way back up. Takes me a little bit longer to get back up now. Stretch up through both arms, inhale. And then as we exhale, we'll bring our hands to the floor. As the hands come down, we'll pick up our left leg, swinging it up and back, returning ourselves back to an extension of the left leg. This time we'll pick our right arm up, reach out through the fingertips, hug the belly in. Take an inhale 3 times, exhale, elbow to knee, curl in, round the back. Stretch it out on the inhale. Exhale, curl in. One more time, moving with your breath. Inhale, extend. And exhale as you curl in. Let's take our inhale, we'll reach out. On our exhale, we'll return to our table. And again, we'll take our toes, tuck them under, send our hips back, finding our downward facing dog. Couple deep breaths to explore, pedal feet, sway hips. Listen to how your body wants to move in this moment. And then we can either choose to stay right here or take an inhale and lift the right leg up and back into a 3-legged downward dog. Just be mindful because we're at home now, so we're in different spaces and it's easier to kick things. Reach back for your heel, hug your belly in, push the floor away in your 3-legged downward dog, or just continuing to hold downward dog. And we'll take an inhale. As we exhale, we'll all take a big step forward with our right foot. As we bring our right foot forward toward the top of our mat, we'll lower our left knee down. Stretch the arms forward and up as you come up into a low lunge. Tip your tailbone down, lift your pubic bone up, lengthen up through your fingertips. Let your heart start to lead just a little lift. If that feels okay, you might let your gaze follow. And let's take an inhale here. As we exhale, let our arms go wide back and down. Bring your belly toward your thighs, sweep the arms forward and up. On the exhale, the arms go wide back and down. Belly toward thigh, arms forward and up. Inhale. We might exhale out through the mouth. Let's do 2 more, moving at your breath pace, noticing that space across the chest. Again, we might think about kind of that cleansing energy of water, that cleansing energy of our breath. After our last one, we'll sweep our arms back up, coming up into our low lunge. As we exhale, we'll bring our hands behind our head, just like we would if we were going to do a sit-up. So the hands are interlaced. Push your elbows open. Hug your belly in. One more time, tip your tailbone down. Then from here, if it feels safe, we'll start to tip our head back into our hands. We may think about here, scooping our head and our heart up toward the ceiling as we continue to let the weight of our head go. Depending on how our pelvis is feeling, we could stay here or we could start to slide a little bit further into our lunge if that feels interesting. And let's push our hands into our head to bring our head back up to center. So we come to center, we'll stretch both arms up toward the ceiling. As we exhale, we'll trace the midline, bringing our hands down inside of our front foot. And we might need to heel toe our foot off once or twice just to make a little bit more room for our hands inside of our foot. Let your weight start to slide forward. And if, like me, you're finding that your knee is going fair amount over your heel, you might walk that foot forward just a little bit more or slide your back knee back just a little bit more. Take a couple of deep breaths here, just kind of noticing. You might let your hips move a little bit from side to side. You might draw some little circles with your pelvis. Some of us, it'll feel more interesting to get closer to the floor. I don't really have the space to do that anymore, but you might grab a block if you've got one nearby. That can be a good space to go to, kind of in between you and the floor if you want to, or you might find that your forearms come all the way down to the floor. Okay, we'll take just a couple breaths here, noticing what's there in the pelvis, what's there in the hip joint. And then with our front foot, our right foot, we'll start to pivot our toes out just a little bit. So it's like we're moving from 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock on a clock. We'll begin to tip our knee open, so letting the knee dip open out to the side. So lots of different options here. We could stay right here, just kind of working with this. We might bring our right hand up to the inside of our knee, and we're not forcing or pushing. There's enough of that, I feel like, going on internally for a lot of us right now. It's just kind of this gentle rest of the hand on the leg. And so we could stay there working with that. If we want to move into the twist, we can lift our right arm up toward the ceiling, or even take the option to bend the back knee and reach around and catch hold of our foot. So again, lots of different places to explore, listening to where your body wants to be today. You can be down on your left forearm or up on your left hand. You can even have a block underneath your left hand if it feels like you're too close to the floor and you need some more space. Lots of different options to play with. And let's take one more inhale. As we exhale, if we're in the twist, we'll start to release. We'll all bring our right hand down to the floor, coming up off the left forearm or block if we need to, moving the block out of the way if it's there. Parallel the right foot to the long edge of your mat, tuck your left toes under. So it's now in a higher lunge, push the floor away, hug your belly in, and then see, could I take my right foot up and step it back to meet my left foot, finding plank pose. So pausing here in plank pose, push the floor away with the hands, hug your belly up and in. Know that you can always take the option to drop down onto your knees. That's my preferred plank pose right now. And we'll take one more inhale here, and then as we exhale, all of you, just not me, are going to lower all the way to your belly. So elbows hugging, coming all the way down onto your belly. Keep your hands right where they are, setting yourselves up for cobra pose. Push down into the tops of your feet, hug your elbows in, roll your shoulders down your back, lift your heart up, coming up into cobra. And then as you exhale, you'll bring your head back down, tap the floor. Hugging elbows in, shoulders down the back, peel yourself up, coming up into cobra, and exhale, back down. One more time, elbows in, shoulders back, inhale, coming up, and exhale it back down. As you come down, hands under shoulders, tuck your toes. You can either come up through your knees or tuck your toes and come up through plank. On our exhale, we'll meet in downward facing dog. Take a couple breaths in your downward dog. Pedal your feet, sway your hips. Notice that first side and also let it go. So coming into that kind of cleansing experience of having just gone through all of those movements and now releasing and letting go. We'll take one more inhale, one more exhale. And then if we found it on our first side, we'll take an inhale and now lift our left leg into our three-legged downward dog. Stretch your left leg up and back. Hug your belly in, let your right heel get a little bit heavier. And again, we could just be staying here in downward facing dog if we prefer. We'll take another inhale. As we exhale, we'll all take a big step forward with our left foot. As we bring our left foot forward, we'll lower our right knee to the mat. Once we set our foot, our back knee, we'll lift our arms up, coming up into our low lunge. Lengthen your tailbone down, lift your arms up, hug your belly in. We might start to lift our gaze up toward the ceiling, finding that additional lift in our heart as our gaze lifts up toward the ceiling, but also encouraging our shoulders to find just a little bit of softness. Okay, let's take an inhale here. As we exhale, we'll let our arms go wide, back and down. Bring your belly toward your thighs, sweep your arms forward and up. On your exhale, arms go wide, back and down. Let's do that 3 more times. You might exhale out through the mouth. There might be another noise that might come out. You might want to scream. That's totally fine. We're all on mute. Just kind of letting out whatever needs to come out on that exhale. As we finish our last one, we'll sweep our arms forward and up. Take your hands, interlace them behind your head again, kind of like we would for a sit-up. Push the elbows open. As we push our elbows open, we'll tip our tailbone down one more time, hug our belly in. Then from there, if it feels okay for our neck, we'll start to tip our head back. Okay, scoop up through your head, scoop up through your heart. Take a deep breath, moving your breath into your upper chest, up into your collarbones. Noticing how that breath is that cleansing tool, just like water. We'll push our hands into our head, lift our head up to center, stretch both arms up toward the ceiling. Take an inhale, exhale, trace the midline. Bring your hands down inside your front foot, and then heel toe your foot off to the side once or twice to make a little bit more room. From here, begin to sink your weight as far forward as it will go. Again, making a little bit more space between front foot and back knee if your back knee starts to go over your heel. And then noticing as you start to settle here, you might just take a little movement from side to side. You may draw some little circles with your hips. Some of us might find that block, or I know people have been using all sorts of interesting things around your house, so any kind of prop that you have that makes for a block, pausing here, coming to your forearms. And again, just giving yourself permission to be where your body needs to be right now in this moment. I think that permission piece is so important right now. It's really hard, at least for myself, sometimes to give myself permission to be where I need to be. So letting wherever you are, whatever is there, whatever you're feeling, letting all of that be okay. So now we'll take our left foot, we'll start to spin our toes out of the diagonal, let your knee begin to dip open. As it does, you could stay here. You could start to bring your left hand inside your knee, giving just a little bit of pressure. We're not trying to force the knee away by any stretch of the imagination, or we could start to lift our left arm up toward the ceiling. So again, just noticing, where is it that I want to be on this side? What feels interesting? Again, if we feel too close to the floor, we can always grab a block, set it underneath our hand, and find a little bit more space there. Take a couple deep breaths down into the front of your right hip, down into the left hip joint. Be curious about what you find there. And let's take one more inhale as we exhale. If we're in the twist or in the bind, we'll circle our left hand down. If we're on the forearms or a block, clearing that out of the way, coming back up to the hands. Let's parallel our left foot to the long edge of the mat. Tucking the right toes under. If moving back through plank felt like too much on the first side, know that you can keep your back knee down and move back through tabletop instead. So let's take an inhale. As we exhale, we'll all take a step back, moving to tabletop or plank. And then from there, if we were in tabletop, we might slide our weight forward, moving toward plank on the knees. Hug your belly in, push the floor away. Feel the extension if you're in that full plank back through your heels. We'll take one more inhale. And as we exhale, we'll lower all the way down to our bellies, everybody but me. And then you'll do 3 of your cobras, pushing the floor away, coming up on the inhale. You might find you come a little bit higher this round. And exhale as you lower down. And 2 more times. Push the floor away, come up on your inhale. And exhale back down. Last time, inhale, coming up into your cobra. And exhale back to the floor. As you finish that last one, come up either toes tucked through straight legs or coming up through hands and knees. You'll find your plank of choice on the inhale. With our exhale, toes tuck, hips lift, downward facing dog. Couple breaths, pedal out your feet, sway your hips. Take this time too, if you had a blanket for knee padding, to move that to the side, just so it's out of your way, making sure that we've got a clear mat for our walk forward. From here, we'll start to walk our feet forward to the top of our mat, setting your feet at least hip width apart. Mine have to be about as wide as my mat now to make space. So taking the distance between your feet that you need for your forward fold. If you're feeling really back sensitive today, you can always have a bend to your knees with your elbows on your thighs. We'll take a couple of deep breaths here. Let the weight of your head go if you can. And then if it feels all right, we'll start to circle our hands behind us. And you might do better with soft knees if your back is bothering you. Interlace your hands, or this is where that strap or scarf could come in handy between your hands. We'll start to lift our knuckles up toward the ceiling. Taking a couple of deep breaths. If that's not working and we don't have a strap or a scarf, we can keep our hands interlaced on our back and then lift our elbows up toward the ceiling instead. Let the weight of your head go. You might start to straighten your legs a little bit more if you bent your knees. Take a couple of deep breaths across your chest. You can let your weight shift a little bit from side to side, bending one knee and then the other, letting your arms swing. And let's take one more inhale. As we exhale, we'll release the interlace of our hands. Let your arms come back toward the floor. Shake your head yes. Shake your head no. And from here, we'll start to transition to chair pose. So feet hip width apart, or you might heel toe your feet all the way together. Begin to bend your knees, drop your hips, lift your arms, coming up into chair pose. If anybody needs to pause and grab a block and set it between their thighs for a little bit more stability, you can do that too. Reach out through your fingertips. If you have a block, give it a squeeze. Hug your belly in as you lengthen back through your, lengthen forward through your fingertips, lengthen back through your hip creases. Let's take an inhale here. As we exhale, we'll bend our elbows out to the side. Inhale, stretch the arms alongside the ears. Exhale, bend the elbows. Little squeeze of shoulder blades together in the back. 3 more times. Inhale. Exhale out through the mouth. Twice more. Last one. Stretch the arms up back to your chair pose one more time. Sit your hips back just a little bit further, saying hello to your feet, to your legs. You might notice some heat rising in your body. Let's push the floor away, straighten the legs, reach all the way up, and then exhale as you trace the midline, bringing the hands to the heart. You had a block between your thighs. You can take that out, set that off to the side. Let's all take a moment to pause in mountain pose. Spin your palms open. Let your eyes close. Taking a moment, feeling your breath as it moves through you. And I'd like we perhaps notice those kind of waves of rain getting heavier and then lighter over the course of the storm last night. And then with our next inhalation, we'll open our eyes. So from the top of our mat, we'll bring our hands onto our hips. We'll lift our right knee up. And if we need to, we can always have our toes just on the floor. The right knee might lift a little or it might lift a lot. So you can kind of explore where that feels interesting. Main focus here is hugging belly in and lengthening the tailbone down. Okay, so we'll take an inhale here. As we exhale, I'll be a mirror for you. You'll open your right knee out to the side, trying to keep your shoulders and your left hip pointing forward. Bring your knee back to center, hugging center line. On your exhale, open your knee out to the side. One more time, back to center, inhale. Exhale as you open your knee out to the side. Then from here, we might see, could I place my foot without using my hands, either above my knee or below my knee, or if I need a little more balance support, heel on ankle, toes on floor, setting up for tree pose. Feel into that sensation of standing down into your left leg. So feel yourself get a little bit taller and longer. And then keep your hands on your hips, bring your hands to your heart, or stretch your arms up, finding your version of tree pose. You want a little extra challenge, you could play with starting to lift your gaze up toward the ceiling, noticing how you maybe get a little bit more wobbly. If you want to get extra wobbly, you could close your eyes. We'll take one more inhale. As we exhale, we'll lower our hands, bring our hands back to our hips. If you can, with control, take your right foot off your leg. You might lift that knee just a little bit higher. Take an inhale. Exhale, swing your knee back to center, back to where we started. Here, we'll take an inhale. And then as we exhale, we'll take a big giant step back for warrior two. It might end up needing to be a couple steps back. Feel free to heel toe your foot back to find that alignment that you need. Front knee bends over the heel as we extend our arms toward the front and the back of our mat. Let your gaze go where it feels comfortable. So you might find that you enjoy looking over your front fingers. You might find that it feels better for your neck to actually keep your gaze forward, kind of in the same direction of your shoulders. As you take a couple of breaths, you might notice yourself sinking downward just a little bit, feeling that same sensation of bending your shoulders downward just a little bit. Let's take an inhale here. As we exhale, we'll bring our hands in toward our heart, palms together as we straighten our front leg. On the inhale, you'll extend your arms, so you bend your knee. On the exhale, straighten the leg, bring the palms together at the heart center. We'll do that 3 more times, flowing in and out with your own breath pace. Maybe a little bit faster, a little bit slower than what I'm offering. That last one will come to straight leg, hands at the heart. You'll take an inhale. As you exhale, start to deepen the left hip crease as you send your right hip back, moving toward triangle pose, but with the hands at the heart. So we're finding more just our triangle legs with hand at the heart. Use the hands at the heart to guide a rolling open through your chest. If we need support, we can always bring our hand down. Otherwise, staying here with our hands at our heart center. Let's take one more inhale. As we exhale, now we'll start to send our left hand down, our right arm up, finding a more traditional triangle pose. Let's take one more inhale. As we exhale, we'll start to bend our left knee as we circle back up into our warrior two. You'll take your inhale, and as you exhale, straighten your front leg, lower your arms. We'll pivot our left foot so that it's parallel to our right. Make sure that your big toes are on the same line. So if you have one foot that's a lot further forward than the other, just adjust your feet a little bit. Pivot your heels in, your toes out. For more balance, you'll keep your feet a little bit closer to parallel. We've got a little more hip mobility. The toes might turn out just a little bit more. Hug your belly in, lengthen your tailbone down, start to bend your knees, sitting down into a squat. Now we'll take our inhale, circle sweep our arms up as we straighten our legs. As we exhale, we'll bend our knees, push down through center. Arms circle wide, legs straighten, inhale. Exhale, pushing down through center. Do that 3 more times. Again, you'll move at the pace of your breath. Last one. So we take our inhale, we'll straighten our legs, reach our arms up. On the exhale, we'll lower our arms down. As our arms come down, you can parallel your feet and then heel toe, or hop your feet together. From here, we'll turn back to the top of our mat, coming back to our mountain pose, taking a moment to pause, feel the spinning open through the palms, the length down through the tailbone, little hug of the belly in. We might drop our gaze or close our eyes. And again, feeling that release after the first side, that pause, that stillness after our movement and our heat building. And now if the eyes are closed, we'll open our eyes, bring our hands to our hips. So we'll do that whole sequence on the second side. I'll start by facing you just to make it easier to see. So I'll be in the mirror again. We'll start to lift our left foot off the floor. Again, if we need to have our toes down for a little balance support, we can. Or start to lift that knee as high as feels interesting. Hug your belly in, lengthen down through your right heel. Take an inhale. As you exhale, begin to open your knee out to the side. Bring your knee back to center on your inhale. Try and keep shoulders pointing forward. Exhale, open out to the side. One more time, inhale. And exhale out to the side. This time we'll stay here. We might see, could I place my foot above my knee, below my knee, or toes on the floor in a little kickstand for my tree pose. As we land our foot where it feels interesting, we'll push down into our standing leg. So feel that engagement through your standing leg side. Hands can stay on the hips. We could bring our hands to our hearts. We could find our tree pose arms. Gaze might start lifting up toward the ceiling if we want that little bit of extra challenge. Take one more inhale. As we exhale, we'll bring our hands to our heart. With control, if we can, we'll step our left foot off of our leg, swing our knee forward back to where it started. Finding that space there. I'm just going to switch sides to make it easy to see. You'll take an inhale, hug your belly in, lengthen your tailbone back down. As you exhale, take a big step back or a couple steps back as you move toward warrior two. Again, feel free to heel toe your foot back a little bit further if you need to make space. Stretch your arms for the front and the back of your mat. And again, notice where it feels most interesting to have your gaze. And it might be different on this side. Here we might start to sink down into our legs just a little bit, feeling into that sensation in our pelvic bowl, spaciousness perhaps in our hips. We'll take an inhale. As we exhale, straighten the leg, bring the hands to the heart. Bend the knees, stretch the arms out, inhale. Exhale, straighten the leg, bring the hands to the heart. We'll do that 3 more times, flowing in and out with your breath. After that last one, leg straightens, hands come to the heart. Keeping the hands at the heart, we'll move toward that triangle pose shape with our legs. We'll send our left hip back, deepen our right hip crease as we start to tip forward. As we tip forward, using the hands of the heart as that guide to help roll our chest open just a little bit more. And if we need support, we can always bring that hand right down. Otherwise, stay here 2 more breaths. Take one more inhale as you exhale. Begin to lower the right hand down, lift the left arm up, coming into your version of triangle pose today. Take a couple of deep breaths into the left side body. And we'll take an inhale as we exhale, start to bend our right knee, bringing ourselves back up through our warrior two. Pause there, lengthen out through your fingertips, take an inhale. And as we exhale, we'll lower our arms, straighten our front leg, parallel our right foot to the left. Again, preparing for our squat, so adjusting your feet accordingly as needed. Heels in, toes out. Bend your knees. This time, bring your arms out to the side. Bend your elbows, finding goddess squat as you sit down into your legs. Hug your belly in, lengthen your tailbone down. We'll take an inhale, straighten the legs, reach up. Exhale, bend the elbows, bend the knees, sit down into your squat. Inhale, reach it up. Exhale out through the mouth. So you'll keep going here with your breath. You can pick how low you're sitting each time you squat. Consider finding that audible exhale out through the mouth. Or again, there may be some other sound that wants to come out. The nice thing is we're at home. Maybe we'll scare our pets or our family members if we make weird noises. But you're at home. You're not in a yoga studio. So you're kind of in a space that's a little bit more familiar and safe. So it might be a yell or a weird noise that comes out as you bend your knees, bend your elbows. Let this be a place that you can release as you move into your body, if that feels safe and okay. Let's do two more. Inhale, reaching up. Exhaling out. Last one. Push into the feet, straighten the legs, reach the arms up. Inhale. Exhale, circle the arms down. As your arms come down, parallel your feet, and we'll heel toe or hop our feet together. Turning back to the top of our mat, coming back to where we started, feet hip width apart or feet together as we prepare for one more chair pose. Stretch your arms up toward the ceiling, take an inhale, exhale, bend your knees, sitting down into chair. This time we'll take an inhale. As we exhale, we'll sweep our arms back behind us. Sweep the arms forward and up on your inhale. As you exhale, sweep your arms down and back. Keep going with your breath. Again, we might add some audible exhales. There's other sound that needs to come out. Let's do two more. Last one. As our arms come back, we'll interlace our hands behind our back, roll the shoulders down the back, lift up across the heart, hug the belly in. Let's take an inhale. As we exhale, start to tip forward. I need to widen my feet just to make room. You might appreciate that too. Reach down through the crown of your head, reach up through your knuckles. Again, we can take the option, hands interlaced on the back, lifting elbows instead, or grab our strap or our scarf or whatever we have. I'll take one more inhale. As we exhale, we'll release our hands toward the floor, toward the shins. Shake out the head, yes. Shake out the head, no. Let's slide our hands onto our shins, right below our knees. Lengthen your spine, look forward, inhale. Exhale, bring the hands to the floor, walk or step back into downward facing dog. Take a couple of deep breaths, pedal your feet, sway your hips. Again, listening to that movement that your body wants to take in this moment. Noticing what that might be. And we'll take another inhale in our downward dog. On our exhale, moving forward to plank pose one more time. So finding either our plank pose on the knees or with the knees lifted, push the floor away, hug your belly in. So we're not letting our hips dip down toward the floor, but we're really finding good, strong core engagement, especially helpful for me, given that I'm holding a lot of extra weight in my core. And we'll take one more inhale. As we exhale, knees up or down. One more time, coming all the way to our bellies. This time we'll push up into cobra and we'll pause. So tops of the feet push into the floor, hug your elbows in, draw your shoulders down your back. Feel your chest start to find that little peel or that bigger peel away from the floor. If any of us are really craving upward facing dog and that would feel interesting here, we can move toward upward dog. Otherwise, just pausing, holding, finding the back bend of cobra pose. As we spend 3 more breaths here, notice if there's anywhere around the jaw that we're feeling tension, anywhere through the back of the neck. Sometimes we need to pull the chin in just slightly, helping to keep the back of the neck long. We'll take one more inhale. As we exhale, we'll lower all the way to the floor. As you come to the floor, stack your palms, bring your head to rest on the back of your hands. Take a couple of deep breaths, feeling that place of surrender after the movement of our practice. Kind of like that analogy to the thunderstorm. After all of the sound, all of the pounding of the water, all of the noise, and then there's quiet afterwards, coming to that place of quiet for a moment, feeling into that. Okay, from here, we'll start to flip over onto our back. So you might just kind of pick yourself up, roll yourself over, making your way onto your back. As you come onto your back, we'll pull the knees into the chest and give ourselves a little rock from side to side, massaging our back into the floor. Noticing a new relationship to our yoga mat, to gravity as we come onto our backs. And we'll release our left foot down to the floor. We'll take our right ankle, cross it over our left thigh. From here, we might stay if we need to. If this is already feeling pretty intense, we stay with this. Or we can start to pick our left foot off the floor. We could use a strap or a scarf around the back of our leg, or we can take our hands and interlace them behind the back of the left leg. With the right foot flexed to help protect the knee, we could stay right here, or we might start to explore a little rock from side to side and notice, how's that feel today? And we might notice that through that movement that we find somewhere that feels more interesting in our thread the needle. So taking that opportunity to explore that a little bit, or to find stillness and coming to that place of quiet and stillness. And let's take one more inhale on this side. As we exhale, we'll let go of our left leg. If we have hold, unhook our right ankle, bringing both feet back down onto the floor. Pausing here for just a moment, letting the pelvis reset. And then we'll pick our left foot up off the floor, draw the left knee in. Take your left ankle, cross it over your right thigh, second side. Acknowledging, noticing any difference in our hips and our pelvis today. We could keep our right foot on the floor, or we could start to bring our right leg in using our hands, using a strap, a scarf, anything that we need to bring the legs in. Coming back to our thread the needle shape, second side. And again, noticing what feels good on this side. Little movement from side to side. Stillness. Maybe as we move, we find a place that feels really interesting. We want to stay there and pause. Take one more inhale. On our exhalation, we'll let go of our second side, releasing hold of the right leg if we have hold, coming back down, unhook the left ankle. Bring both of your knees back into your chest. As both of your knees come into your chest, let them start to widen toward the back corners of your mat. And then we can choose to stay right here, or we can start to lift our feet to stack over our knees, holding the back of our thighs, our shins, or walking our hands up to our feet, finding our happy baby pose. And just like with our thread the needle, we might find that it feels really interesting to rock from side to side. We might find that it feels more interesting to be still. As you take a couple of deep breaths in this shape, notice, is there anything else asking for my attention right now? Is there a part of the body that didn't get quite what it needed? Is there a pose that I was just really hoping for that we didn't take? And feel free here to spend a moment or two to find those last little movements that your body is really wanting before Shavasana. That could mean coming into bridge pose if you're wanting something a little bit more active and invigorating. It could mean coming into Supta Baddha Konasana, bringing your feet together as you're lying on your back. You may bring your hands onto your body. It could mean that we need an extra minute in our Shavasana, and so we take that. So give yourself the opportunity to listen, to notice what it is that I need in this moment. honoring whatever that might be, taking that movement for as long as you'd like to. And then when you feel ready, we'll start to move towards Shavasana. We'll just be here for a couple of minutes, but if you need to grab a layer or any kind of prop to make you more comfortable in Shavasana, please take a moment to do that. Ensuring that you're setting yourself up for rest in a way that feels appropriate to you today. As we find that Shavasana shape, this last opportunity, feeling into that space right now in our body is that kind of calm after the storm, where we return to a slower breath. We return to a little slower rhythm of our bodies. We return to this moment right now. Taking the next couple of breaths, reflecting back on that idea of the bigness, the fullness of emotion, that bigness, that fullness that we might have experienced in the thunderstorm, the bigness, the fullness of everything that we might be experiencing right now, especially when it rises up unexpectedly. And I'll share with you a little reading from Pema Chodron about that unpredictability, which I feel like is one of the most challenging pieces that we sometimes deal with things that feel too big. She said, we could never know what will happen to us next. We can try to control the uncontrollable by looking for security and predictability, always hoping to be comfortable and safe. But the truth is that we can never avoid uncertainty. This not knowing is part of the adventure. It's also what makes us afraid. Letting that sit in your body, that idea of the uncertainty, of the unknowableness. Welcoming that in with 3 deep breaths. We'll inhale through the nose and exhale out through the mouth. I feel like in this time, it's really important to honor our need for rest. And so if your body is asking for rest right now, you can take it and you can be here a little bit longer. Feel free to stay in your Shavasana. It's totally up to you. If you're ready to kind of transition into whatever comes next, you can start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Eventually making your way over onto your right side, where you might pause for a breath or two before coming up to a comfortable seat. Just as we began, you might bring your hands to your heart, or one hand onto your belly, one hand onto your heart. If you're on your back, you could do the same. We'll take just a moment here at this pause at the end of practice, at this pause kind of midweek, to set an intention to take with us off of our mat. holding that space of uncertainty, of unknowableness, of things that are bigger than us inside that intention. We offer up the fruits of our practice to the benefit of all beings everywhere, that they may be happy and free from suffering. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. And finally, bowing to our own hearts, we acknowledge the light that resides inside each one of us. Namaste.